See today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rock Turk Sports Show. My name is Rocco Foggio. I'm the host of the show and also the #1 enemy of the fanboy. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Justin, get that bum out of here, Turk. And as always, Dom, the ref, Regio.
Yes.
For our new listeners, we're a couple former athletes turned coaches that'll be bringing the week's top national and local sports stories, and we'll be debating on them using our unique sports perspective and experiences. But before we get started with today's show, I just want to let you know that today the show is sponsored by and brought to you by Blaze Contracting.
Rock Turk Sports Show is brought to you in part by Blaze Contracting Incorporated. Blaze is a heavy civil site contractor that self-performs mass and surgical excavation, aggregate installations, land balance and grading, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, and water main installations throughout Michigan, Ohio, and Nevada. Blaze has successfully completed many high-profile projects and is a preferred vendor for many established
For Ohio, Michigan, to call it.
Detroit, and across America. Currently, Blaze has several major projects going on in Metro Detroit, including the new Little Caesars headquarters building, the Detroit Rush Park, the Flexi Gate.
Did you guys see all the balls on Monday Night Raw?
Yeah. I didn't see the part. What was he saying that was racist? It was like the little man was saying they had the
Oh,
public
he said the N-word.
Get on me.
The WWE was pissed about that.
I don't know what they expected. Because he was like 17. I wouldn't. I
He's
mean,
not even 17. He's just
16?
Yeah.
It wasn't like malicious. It's like any rap song ever.
Give them a call today. Call 313-361-1000 or visit their website at www.blazecontracting.com.
What's going on, fellas?
How's
What's
it
up?
going?
What's up? What's up? Another good show. No rain today.
Okay, yeah. So first, what is that? So it's 7 out of 10 shows is rain. So we had 3 shows and no rain.
This is 11.
So we
It's
got 8.
11.
So 8 out of 11 shows.
Are you superstitious, Turk?
You know, just
Were you that guy that like had to put the left shoe on first
I was
before a
that guy.
game?
I was that guy.
I was like that, but I'm a little OCD, so it's not the love.
Yeah.
Hey, but real quick before everybody jumps on my back or starts calling me a savage and being mean, when I introduced Turk today, when I said that guy's a bum, a lot of times it's off the air when we're having our sports debate with our friends or other people. Turk just never says, yeah, whatever. He said that guy's a bum. That guy's a bum.
I have become really free with the word bum.
Yeah.
I really embraced it. And, you know, one day we'll talk about how the bum word, it covers so many, you know, aspects of a person. It could be that guy's a bum, he might be swinging a bat. That guy's a bum, he might be throwing a ball. That guy's a bum, he might be walking down the street. It just covers.
It's kind of like forget about it.
Yeah, no, it's
A whole
universal.
bunch of statements. When I was in Indiana, the horrible state of Indiana, and yes, I said horrible, everyone says Coke, right? It doesn't, like, if they want something to drink, like a pop.
No matter what it is, they say
They
Coke.
say, I want a pop, right, or soda. The first one, they looked at me like, what's that?
Yeah,
right.
And I was like, okay. And I say, let me get, what do you want? And I asked about, hey, what do you want to drink? What do you want?
Hey, what do you want
I have
to
a
drink?
Coke. I bring a Coke back, and he's like, no, I wanted a Sprite. Dude, you said a Coke. He's
Right.
like, oh, you know Coke like pop. You know what it is. No, I don't. So that's your example of
That sounds ridiculous.
It is. That's why
Yeah.
Indiana's is an ass backward state.
Okay.
Dom, what's
Yo.
going on, man? You're back. Second week in a row. No, were you here last week? Yeah, you were
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Okay, so I get you're so famous now with all the
Yeah.
Comic-Cons
On the
and
Ratings went up last week.
Yes. Yes.
No, I'm doing good, man. I'm good. Glad to be back. We got some cool stuff to talk about. I'm really into this show so far. I like it.
All right, we need to get you guys calling in. We've had some callers, and I know that sometimes you guys don't get through the line, so make sure that you hit us on the Twitter. But to give us a call during the topics, it's 248-721-8570. Or if you don't get through, hit us on the Twitter. It's Rock and Turk Sports with a Z. That's Rock, the letter N, Turk Sports with a Z. With that, let's get started because we got a good show today. Dom, what do we got going on?
All right, we're going to start off with an NBA draft recap, failed pre-draft trades, and the CP3 deal. Rocco, go ahead.
Well, as far as the draft recap, I think, Turk and I said last week that it's pretty exciting. It's probably better than when you get down to the nitty-gritty of the draft, that it is better than the NFL draft, because it's so many things and so many major players can get moved and things can happen. And so we had a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors going in, and it was, kind of exciting, and then it kind of fizzled out. The draft went pretty much how it was predicted. I guess the one that everyone knows is the Jimmy Butler trade.
Yeah.
But it ended up a lot of hype. It did not match, it didn't. I guess what I was waiting for is just the number 2 pick, kind of like NFL draft, right? See who's going
to be the next guy.
Because if it would have went like the NFL draft, if they had taken somebody other than Lonzo, then it might have
the board.
Yeah,
I agree. But those first couple picks were expected. I think the only one that might have been a slight surprise was the Tatum Josh Jackson one, and I think that story. There's more to that story because Josh Jackson decided not to work out for Boston. I know it sounded like he had some agreements in place. I mean, that's the game they play. I mean, the money's not much different there. Probably likes Phoenix better than he likes Boston. He was out in Cali. He was from Detroit, but moved out to Cali to play high school ball. Probably wants to go back to the West Coast. Worked out for him.
There's also some things like we know in our business that go behind the scenes. That's the business aspect of it. And it's not bad stuff, but he's got some baggage, and I don't know if that play. I mean, I know like you said with the whole, they flew out to Sacramento because he didn't want to go to Boston, and then he just didn't show up, and so they were out. So, but he does have some baggage, and he has some. If you're from Michigan, you probably already know the wild story that he had when he was younger. So.
Allegedly. None of this has been proven, but allegedly.
So,
wild story.
With that, like I said, we're not going to get into it. I think that some teams got better. I think there's a couple. I think Markelle Fultz. I think they will be a playoff team. I think they can be an 8 seed if everybody stays healthy. Maybe a 7 seed.
I think they could create if everything goes like I'm hearing their name with a couple free agents. They need a shooter. A shooter. But as far as Fultz, Simmons, and Embiid, if Embiid can stay healthy, Simmons, like I said, he's still a question mark, but I think we know his floor is pretty high. Is what you're gonna get out of that guy, and I think Fultz is gonna be a phenomenal player. So Philly's going in the right direction, obviously. Making that pick was a no-brainer for them.
I think Lonzo going number 2. I think he's gonna, no matter what's going on with his dad, let's put that aside. I think he's a good basketball player. He's got things to work on, but they've moved some pieces. I don't think they're done, but as presently constructed, they need to get some more pieces around him.
Absolutely.
They got a good base.
He's a facilitator. I think they need more. I'm interested to see if they end up pulling off something for Paul George. I think in the long run, that's where he wants to be. Makes a lot of sense because they need a prime scorer. Taking away D'Angelo Russell hurt their scoring right now. Clarkson is not a guy that can carry the offense. Lonzo was a facilitator. So, how far can Brandon Irvin? Brandon Ingram. How far can Brandon Ingram go in the second year? Those things to be seen. Don't want to get too much in LA. I think what you said earlier, the biggest winner in the draft, I thought was the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Jimmy Butler trade, and we're going to look back this in a couple years because honestly, I don't know what Chicago was thinking with that trade. I understand that Jimmy Butler wasn't happy. He wanted to get moved. And the trade almost made sense when you got Chris Dunn and you got their starting shooting guard from Minnesota. I can't remember his name right now. Who came off a torn ACL. Can't remember his name right now.
For the shooting guard who?
Timberwolves. He was in the trade.
Zach LaVine.
Yeah, Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn. And they got the 7th pick.
Which ended up being Laurie, forgive me.
Markkanen. And honestly, that was a guy I thought Minnesota was going to take if they kept that pick. I think that makes sense, but the fact that they gave up number 14, was it number 4? It wasn't number 14.
They gave the 16th pick.
Number
they
15.
ended up getting Justin Patton for it.
Yeah, number 16. Number 16, Justin Patton, and for people who really know basketball, Justin Patton's a 7-footer who grew a lot from high school to college. He's got so much upside, and they can store him away for a little while.
Kind of like an Anthony Davis type.
Yeah, Justin Patton could be the biggest haul out of that trade. And for them to get Justin Patton and Jimmy Butler, I thought Chicago really dropped the ball on that trade. Minnesota's looking like, I know they're talking about getting rid of Rubio and then talking about signing Derrick Rose. They're taking a chance on Derrick Rose, but as a starter, he's a guy that they're not going to need a lot of points
He won't have
from.
pressure on him.
Yeah, not a lot of pressure. They got 3 dynamic scorers. They're getting 60 points out of 3 guys in Minnesota. Derrick Rose can just chill out and every once in a while show up and have a game.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what the Bulls did. First of all, you probably squeezing them for that $24 million. A lot of you don't know, or you haven't seen, or if you do know, it's never in your mind. Go on the website, go on the Facebook, pull up a picture of Dwayne Wade, and pull up a picture of Turk, and they're the twin brothers or something. Because
Speaking of Dwayne Wade, I gotta disown Dwayne Wade because of his fashion faux pas.
Man, boy.
I know we saw the one at the draft though, where he looked like he was. He looked like he was on a roll bounce, and I don't know what he was doing there.
That's curling.
Have you seen the one with him and Gabrielle Union where he's carrying a doggy bag?
No, I don't want to see it.
No. When I say doggy bag, he's carrying a bag shaped like a doggy.
No, bro.
Like it's a purse. It's a doggy bag. It's a
purse. I'm confused.
He's in a suit.
Okay.
He's got all mismatched
So like
boots.
some dudes go out like if you have like they have.
But he's holding it like a purse though, man.
Yeah, man.
And it's shaped like a doggy.
These cats out
And
here.
I kid you not, it's a red, white, and blue doggy, and they call it a doggy bag. I saw this like, come on, bro.
These cats in the NBA, man, they press the line and you start thinking about.
Is everybody? And then we be looking crazy at Migos. Like, where you think you're getting it from, man? Like D Wade, man, you are not a millennial.
He lost me when he came in. He was with the Heat, and he had the suit on where it was the capri dress pants, no sock shoes, and then he wore a blazer with no shirt on with his glasses. And I said, "You lost me, bro." Now
We need to
Westbrook.
We need to do with what's going on, because no one dresses wilder than the NBA. Nobody comes to a game like Ray Lewis was business. My man had a 3-piece suit on, vest, tie up to the top. They come to the football games. They looking like they about to do business. These cats that come to these NBA basketball games look like they are about to do a rap video or do a ballet contest.
Like Westbrook came with like a construction uniform on. Like, bro, let's go. Just
like, do you really plan this out? Like, I know it's a game, bro, but
Did you guys? I was wondering, do you think Lonzo Ball is going to be a good WWE Intercontinental Champion?
You mean LeVar?
Yeah, LeVar.
I tell you what, and most people clown him. Now he did play football. He's a former athlete, and with all he's got going in his life, he was in pretty good shape. He was in good enough for almost a 50-year-old man. He's in pretty good shape.
Did you see that run though? That run,
yeah.
bad.
Well, when he walks, he walks like George Jefferson.
Yeah.
He does. You remember
George Jefferson like 5'6" though.
But that's why that's crazy because his arms are so long.
His run, for the people that don't know what we're talking about, the Ball family was introduced at the WWE.
The same night as the NBA awards too, and they got a higher rating than NBA.
Yeah,
awards.
they were introduced, and LeVar and LaMelo come out, and then Lonzo comes out by himself. So, like these guys, and this is in LA. These guys have become
mixed.
I don't want to get too much on LeVar because I love the guy. I was talking to somebody yesterday about it, guys. And if you watch the Rob Pelinka interview, talk about when him and Magic went, about how impressive he was with each guy, training kids, knowing everybody's name, feeding them. They turn their garage into a facility. So this guy is out here. He ain't just talking about it. He putting in the work. And my big thing was, they just put a mic in his face, and now he just sounds stupid. He's always been this guy.
Well, he don't sound stupid now because pretty much.
But everything he says has come true. And if you go on the website, bro, the slides are sold out.
Well, now that he's number 2, all Lonzo has to do is go out there. He doesn't have to get rookie of the year, but have a good season. And even I doubt he can make LA get to playoffs. But if they got an 8th seed, then he may be on his way.
I think like because LeVar has been so controversial, people forget about how good Lonzo Ball was, man. Like if you go back and watch every UCLA game this year, this dude was out here.
He was as advertised.
I mean, there's 2 players on UCLA that got drafted in the first round this year. They need to get part of that paycheck to Lonzo because he made Leaf. I mean, Leaf was a good prospect coming in, but he made these guys substantially better, easy buckets. And I think that's missed in the NBA. And one thing I know we're talking all over the place, but I mean, you look at Lonzo Ball, what he does for LA, where they might not have the pieces, but he's going to make everybody out there a little bit better because he's going to give them easy buckets. Same principle as you got a team like Houston with the Chris Paul trade, and I know people go back and forth about it, and I love the trade. I think the trade made a lot of sense, and people want to say that James Harden's a point guard. He's not a point guard. He's a scorer who can handle the rock. And I know he gets assists, but if you look at his assist to turnover ratio, I can live without a couple of his assists because he's so reckless with the ball.
All he's going to do is go back to what he was at OKC. He was an off-the-ball guard, catch, shoot. And you know what? To me, the caliber of player he is, he's not going to have to be thinking about he can just go score.
Yeah.
He can just be a
You don't
scorer.
have to set. And I think it's going to take the wear and tear off of him having to bring the ball up, set the offense up. But I think the guys that are going to benefit the most from the trade, because Harden's going to get his 29 points. I think a guy like Capella is going to get is going to really
Yes.
benefit because he's an athletic big. A guy like Nelson, who's going to be a pick and roll guy, if he's still there, I know they're talking about trading his contract.
Who?
Not Nelson.
Anderson?
And
No, so I got
Ryan
so,
Anderson.
so I'll give you
If
real
they keep
quick.
him.
Here's what if for everyone doesn't know, CP3 was traded. They both, him and Blake Griffin, opted out of their contracts. Jerry West is now a special consultant to the team. He just left the Warriors. So the Clippers traded Chris Paul to the Rockets, and what the Clippers got in return, they got Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, Sam Decker, Montrezl Harrell, Darren Hilliard, DeAndre Liggins, Kyle Wilshire, and a projected first-round pick and some cash
all
consideration.
right, so let me for those who don't follow the NBA, let me summarize what happened here. Houston got Chris Paul, and the Clippers got Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, and a bunch of bums.
No. Hey, if you ever see, I watched this year.
That guy's a
Harrell
bum.
is a good player.
He's a bum.
He's not. He's a good. For what they're trying to do, and if DeAndre Jordan says, here's what this
There's
is.
no way Harold and DeAndre Jordan can play together. So
Why not?
he's
They're
an
both- they're-
undersized.
He's going to be a four. He's gonna be
Yeah,
a
but he
four.
can't. Neither one of them can shoot. You can't have both of them on the court together.
You might
That's
not.
horrible.
But no. But what I'm saying is now Wilshire. You remember him from Gonzaga? He can play.
Who?
Kyle Wilshire. He was from Gonzaga. He's a poor man's Dirk
Bum.
Nowitzki. Here's what I'm telling you why this is a rare draft. I mean, this is a rare trade where I don't think anybody walked away, because a lot of times you want to walk away, everybody not being happy when you have a trade deal or a trade. But what Houston does is, now they still get out what they have is a depth problem, so they have to figure out. And they also got to make sure CP3, because that's a king's ransom for not knowing he may not resign.
It's not a king's ransom, man. You gave up.
If he leaves, if he doesn't re-up his contract, you've lost your bench. You got some guys that are older, and he's gone.
Yeah, but
and this is your
player,
window
only
right now.
player that like Patrick Beverly and Lou were in last year's of their deals. So the only player that would have been on the team past next year would have been Sam Decker.
Young cats.
Sam Decker and the first round pick.
And Hilliard
which-
they got from us, and
Yeah,
DeAndre Liggins they got
Liggins-
from Dallas. So they're
Yeah, but DeAndre Liggins was on Cleveland, got signed by Dallas. He's a bum too. Like, I mean, I'm not saying these guys. All of them will beat me.
So,
but relative to the NBA, they're bums.
But here's
right?
another thing. The difference between me or Turk or Dom saying this, we've played collegiately, professionally. So when we're saying, we're just not a guy that's on the couch saying it. Like, we can look and see, is this guy good at his trade? Is he good at what he does?
Right.
So
Relative
we're
to
saying-
the talent in the NBA, they got a bunch of bums, Lou Williams and Patrick Beverly. And the first round pick is going to be a late round pick. Could it turn into a guy? Yes. I think for Houston, it's a no-brainer. To me, I think the more guys you can have facilitate offense on the floor, the better.
Okay, bottom line, does this, I'm not saying
No.
does this make them beat, but do they compete? Do they get past San Antonio?
Yes. I think
And
if both teams are healthy right now, I would take San Antonio, or because
Over Houston?
I would take Houston over San Antonio.
To go to
If
conference
both teams
finals.
are healthy right now,
Right.
because they were still able to keep Gordon off the bench.
They got Gordon, they got
yeah.
they got Anderson, two shooters at school.
They still can shoot. James Harden's still going to get
And
his
Patrick
points.
Beverly plays great defense.
And like I said, I think Trevor Ariza is a very underrated 3-and-D guy.
And he's at the end, so for him coming off the bench is not a bad thing. He may start.
Now, I didn't know Danny Hilario wasn't back, but we getting too far into Houston. Like I said, I think Chris Paul's a good trade. I think they're a winner. I think that helped them beat the Spurs. And like we talked about last week when we were talking about LeBron leaving another year, and I said the Clippers weren't going to be a factor unless Blake Griffin comes back. That team is gone. Expect Doc Rivers to go. If Blake Griffin signs elsewhere, there's no way DeAndre Jordan stays because he's just a contract.
Well, if he stays, then we'll probably get him because they're looking to get the still talking to DeAndre for Drummond deal.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll talking about Blake Griffin, and let's swing it to the East. So what we do have is a couple shakeups in the East. One, Phil Jackson and Knicks parted ways because basically, I guess James Dolan, who's one of the craziest owners, and I don't think he knows.
James Dolan must have been asleep the last couple of weeks when Porzingis talk was coming up because he just woke up like, what are we thinking about trading Porzingis? Phil, you're fired.
Well, that's not even what got him fired. What got him fired was he wanted to either buy out trade Carmelo, and Dolan is just, for whatever reason, he's in love with him and he's not. So it was either Carmelo or Phil, and they said, Phil, you're gone. I still think,
They gotta get rid of Carmelo.
even though Phil, takes a pounding, I think he did this. He didn't want the job. They threw money at him. They asked him again, he didn't want it. They threw more. Finally, they got to $25 million. I think it was over 3 years or whatever it was. And he was like, yeah, I'll take it. And I think it's just like there's some great players in college that go to the pros and not good players. Just because he was a great coach doesn't mean he was going to be a great executive.
Look at Michael Jordan.
And Isaiah Thomas. All these guys were great players.
And look, speaking of Isaiah Thomas, he's a dark horse candidate to take over Phil Jackson. The Knicks
Again, back
yes,
to the Knicks.
as GM, like what I gotta understand, and I love Zeke, man. I love Zeke, man. Zeke was my guy when he was hooping. Like Zeke was my
As a
guy.
player, yeah.
And Zeke, even in Zeke as an Indiana Pacers head coach, I thought he was a better
He's
coach.
a good coach. And
Good coach.
Toronto, and when he was
Good
in Toronto.
coach. I think he has a thing with point guards. I think he can develop guys. But as far as the management
They're still
position,
part of their reason they're in this
it's because
mess
of,
now because
of the mess he made.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
want to
yeah.
bring him back. I don't understand. It's got to be like if I'm Chauncey, I would go get that job over Cleveland long term. I got Porzingis. If I buy out Carmelo,
people want to play.
yeah.
in New
If I
York.
buy out Carmelo, then I have a clean slate of cap at this point.
And then
And
if
then
it
I got
screws
draft
up,
picks.
it's your fault. Like
Yeah.
you don't have any excuses. Because even Phil, even he did some crazy stuff. He still walked into
I can
mess.
build a team around Porzingis
Yes,
in New York,
yes.
flat out. I can build a team around Porzingis.
Great deal for Phil Jackson, 70 years old, making that much money.
Yeah, and
He's probably
he
gonna
got-
go back to California.
And he got fired.
Yeah.
He still get the check. So
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly.
I don't know. Knicks screwed up in the East though. I thought, like I said.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me get back to it. So the Celtics, what you brought up. So the Celtics right now are trying because of and we'll go over the failed Cavs deal. The Celtics are trying to get Gordon Hayward's going to meet. Free agency starts on Saturday at midnight. So Gordon Howard's
gonna
going
get
to
crazy.
Miami,
It's
and
gonna
then
get
he's
crazy.
going to the Celtics.
Yeah.
But if they sign him, I think what they're going to do is they're going to take the Jason Tatum and maybe Avery in the draft pick, and they're going to trade for Paul George. Now, if that happens, if Gordon Hayward
Game
doesn't
changer.
come,
Game changer.
their next option is Paul George and Blake Griffin. That's still pretty good.
Still
Not the
pretty
same-
good, yeah.
So does that too? And I wanted to ask you this. I know we didn't talk about it during the week, but is that a power shift? Does that give?
I think this is what I think. I think if the Celtics are able to sign Gordon Hayward and they're able to trade for Paul George, I wouldn't at this point unless Paul George is willing to sign long term. I'm not trading Tatum. All right, that's one thing that unless he's going to be there because you can't trade a top 3 pick.
Or okay, well, let's say they get rid of Crowder and maybe they get Horford out of there, get that much from under that money.
Oh, if somebody's crazy enough to take Horford, absolutely go. But I think that a Paul George Hayward combo
With
with
Isaiah,
Isaiah, I think Avery's out of there.
They can probably get Jaylen Brown. I mean, they're going to move. There's going to be guys that are gonna
Boston
get
has so
moved.
many assets. They have I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Boston looks like a week from now because I definitely think they're going to be a player.
I think they're in a better situation because let's say Paul George just goes for a year, he can go win a chip
Mhm.
or compete to go play to unseat Cleveland, win or lose. He's out there.
But if you look at what Jimmy Butler hauled in Minnesota,
right.
like the equivalent to what he hauled in. Let's see, he got Chris Dunn, who was an underwhelming point guard, who's still he was a top 5 pick.
He's young. We'll see what
Second year. And he got like Zach LaVine, who's a good scorer. So if I go off the back there, I'm trading Avery Bradley. That's my Zach LaVine chip, and I'm trading as my other guard or my other guy who's a top guy who's still underdeveloped. I'm trading Jaylen Brown. So if I give you Jaylen Brown, Avery Bradley, and then I give you a first round pick, top 15 protected, that should be right in the Paul George wheelhouse at this point. Because he's on the last year. You're not gonna get more. There's no way I'm giving up more than that. So, we'll see what happens, but I think either way, Boston is put themselves in a position where they're gonna be an aggressive player.
Well, and one last thing before we wrap this up. So if you didn't know, and this is why what Turk was saying is kind of interesting, is that before the draft there was a failed trade, and if you didn't hear, it was a 3-way deal between the Cavs, the Nuggets, and the Pacers. And what it was Love was going to go to the Nuggets, the Cavs were going to get Paul George and Kenneth Faried, and then the Pacers would get draft picks and young players from the Cavs and Nuggets. That fell through partly because the Pacers weren't happy with what they're getting for whatever reason. So now that's going to be, unless D-Wade's contract and gets bought out and Carmelo gets bought out, and they may join in Cleveland. I think this is I think King James he needs to be worried this weekend, because if things go the way that Boston wants, I think with those guys on Boston, even with a broken down D Wade and a Carmelo, they can't keep up with that team.
I think any combination of two players of Paul George, and I'll still put Blake Griffin in there. If they can get a combination of Paul George, Blake Griffin, and Hayward, if they can get two of those three, I think Boston has put themselves in the position to make Cleveland look and say, okay, I got to take this. Is going to be a battle now, especially if one of those dudes is Paul George.
Yeah.
If one of them is Paul George and Blake Griffin, or Paul George and Hayward, I'm really liking Boston to be a major player against Cleveland in the East. I'm really liking it. I'm really excited to see what happens. Obviously, our Pistons, we haven't even talked about them because they're irrelevant.
Because ain't nothing
We're
going
still
on.
trying to.
Good draft.
Hey, but look, we got Luke Kennard to watch
Good
today.
draft.
Make sure you watch Luke Kennard Saturday, 5 p.m. Fill it up, buckets. Him and Henry Ellison are the only hope we got. We got two of them. Great White Hype. Two of them. Watch the movie.
Right, with that,
Right.
that's on the great white hype. What's on the top, Don?
Next we have Mayweather versus McGregor. Will this even be worth our time and money? Turk starts
Money
off.
Mayweather versus McGregor, the fight that everybody's been talking about, the fight that people have been asking for a couple of years now, has finally happened. But
What? Manny Pacquiao and who?
No, McGregor. I don't know why, but before we even get into the actual skill of this, let's talk about the financials, because I'm trying to understand. And like I'm saying, I'm not a boxing fanatic. I'm trying to understand who are these people. I got to understand who are these people. So I looked up the numbers. So they're saying that.
I gotta get them right, because you know I got.
I know you got. All right. So I looked up the numbers. Mayweather Pacquiao. They're saying that this fight could come close to that. Mayweather Pacquiao. No, they're saying close. Mayweather Pacquiao was 79. The revenue from ticket sales, it generated $79 million. That was back in 2015. 2015.
Yeah.
$79 million. They're saying, and that was based on an average ticket price of $4,451. Who are buying these tickets?
Wait.
Average
Hold on.
ticket price.
Hold on now. I told you got to get it right.
No, that's what I got. That's what I got.
The average ticket price. Well, okay, you're saying average.
Yeah.
The tickets start. The low cheap seats, 3,500.
Mhm.
The close to the ring, 250,000.
And for an average price of 4,000, and now the arena where they're having the McGregor Mayweather fight sales, it has 3,200 more seats, but they're expecting the ticket price average to be down a little bit. But they're saying that Pacquiao Mayweather was 79 million. They think McGregor can get anywhere from 72 to 77 million in ticket sales. We're not talking about advertising. We're not talking about anything. We're not talking about cable. What you're going to get for cable for pay-per-view. We're talking about straight ticket sales at the door.
Yeah.
$72 million to watch a guy who's never boxed in his life fight the greatest pound-for-pound fighter in modern-day history.
And this is why I like Turk, because he comes to compete every week in here, because he knows if he slips, I'm gonna get it. And he's right. The average, so he's giving you guys just at the door.
At the door. This is just a walk in.
Okay.
79 million. So if I'm in, now it's not often that you can be amongst millionaires. If I'm in the building and I'm looking around, we have amassed, there's $79 million worth of
Just
money
sitting
in here, just sitting there watching this two-man fight.
Okay.
That's crazy to me.
So now, overall, the
Yeah.
whole shebang, they made almost 410 million.
Yes.
They had 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, and that broke down to standard definition was $89 or $90, $89.95, and high definition was $99.95.
Who's saving the 10 on standard? Hey, look,
There's a lot of cheapskates out there.
248-721. What's the number? 8570. If you are one of those guys that does pay-per-view, I want to know, are you standard? Because I'm going to say what? If you're buying standard pay-per-view, you're a bum.
So, here's what Turk is telling you though too. So that was the Pacquiao fight, and he was saying that they were talking about it could possibly be rival. So you're looking at 4.6 million pay-per-view buys for that fight. They are saying that as of right now, it is estimated for pay-per-view for this. It's August 26, 2017 is the McGregor-Floyd fight. That they could have more buys. It could be right now they're projecting 4.6 to 5 million buys. They could almost outdo. And like Turk said, you're talking about, and I think I've heard this on the radio show, and I try to keep the politics out of it, but it looks like it is. It could be this. That this could be a racial thing, right? Because you have a guy, right? Is it kind of like, remember the movie Great White Hype?
Yeah, great. I just said Great White Hype, right?
Yeah. With I don't know if you guys have never seen it with Jamie Foxx, one of the earliest movies.
Great White Hype, Great
Peter
White
Bird.
Hope. We got 2 Great White Hopes on Saturday. We got Great White Hype in August. Go ahead.
So, because you're looking at this, Manny Pacquiao is, I don't care what people say what happened in that fight. He's one of the best fighters in the world, and he already said he could barely hit Mayweather, and then he took a little bit of a beating. Now there was a YouTube that came out last week, and when the guy there was an original one that came out of McGregor sparring. He looked like the truth.
Yeah.
And the guy he was boxing got a little insulted. Was like, nah, bro. So he put out he had the original and put it out. And basically, this guy he's a good boxer. He's a
sparring guy. He said that guy
he murdered. He said he couldn't hit me, and I just picked him apart. Now the only thing I can see, and I sent you that little joke thing.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm thinking, and they got to put something in the contract. Only thing is that Conor gets in there, he starts taking it, and then he just MMA's on him and just doesn't care. But it's got to
distract the referee, get him in an arm bar or something.
Because right? And maybe it's because we're athletes and we do the whole what if the 49ers played the Patriots, like we always do these error comparisons. But you're taking a guy he's a fighter versus a boxer who's an art who is trained to do this, and he's the best in the world, undefeated.
Best in the world. His hardest thing is to actually get hit. So you're going against a guy who specializes in defense.
He's never the best in the world.
Hits.
He's beat everybody.
So McGregor's only chance is to hit him and hit him constantly, but the best in the world can't hit him. So let me now since I have my amateur boxing license for people that don't know, you can go on YouTube and watch my one. I'm 1-0. I fought in the Brother Rice alumni boxing a couple years ago, won by decision. 1-0. Now one thing that I know, I trained a couple months for this, and my sparring coach, he told me, he said, hey, Turk, listen, you never boxed before, right? And all this stuff that we work on, we can work on, all your technique and stuff, but when you go in the ring, right, and that adrenaline is pumping, you're going to forget all this stuff, and you're going to be trying to throw haymakers in that first round.
Quote.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a plan until they get punched
in the face. So, I'm like, oh, man, I'll be good. Even in the sparring, I'm like, all right, I'm thinking, jab, jab, cross. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. I get into the ring, and you know what I do? I throw all haymakers.
Yes, you did.
I throw all haymakers, especially that first round. And my point in that is, I know McGregor has been MMA, but that's like saying I know that Dwayne Wade has played basketball, but so he should be okay in baseball.
He plays some flag football, and now we're about to put the pads on. He
Just because a guy's done MMA doesn't mean he can box, all right? And it's a totally different temperament because you've never done it before.
This should be in the WWE. That'd be a good fight.
But you know what? Mayweather would never agree to that.
So,
I agree.
Mayweather's he's been in WrestleMania before.
I'm saying he would never agree to a serious fight against an MMA
No,
fighter.
because Tony got destroyed.
Yeah. Mayweather would get killed. If this was the other way around and this was an MMA fight,
right?
I'd put my title on freaking McGregor.
A joke. You can't.
Mayweather would get mauled.
So back to the original point, which brings up you created circus. Well, here it is, man, and it's part of the whole Trump thing, right? I like the Trump situation we have here because it's I used to tell people down south, they are very back in the day, in the early '90s, 2000. I mean, they were still very. They let you know what they thought of you.
Yeah.
Okay, and I like that because
I don't know where you're going with this Trump.
No, because I'm saying this. So when you're up north, you have people that may not like you because of your religion, your color, whatever it is, but they'll smile at your face, be whatever. The whole Trump thing, the only thing I like about him is that all the people that had their hoods on or had their little, they feel that they can come out, stick their head up and say some things. So we're starting to see how people really feel. And you're also starting to see that this nation is more divided. Even though we had a black president, it's still more divided than ever because people have whatever animals have. So what I'm thinking is...
to the Rock Turk Sports Show. No. We do political. We are not attributed with CNN or Fox News or any of that stuff.
So what I'm
just strictly Echo Network.
So what I'm thinking is, you have, you have the typical Anglo-Saxon, Irish, the perennial white boy.
He's the great white hype, man. That's not offensive.
No, it's not.
That's like, there's been many.
If he was a boxer, he's not even a boxer.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's got tats all over his chest. He's the perennial bad boy, white boy. Now, so everyone's like, they're like, oh, he can fight. Now, Floyd Mayweather is, a lot of, Caucasians get mad because he's arrogant. A black dude. He's got money. He runs his mouth. He says he wants to. He feels that he should be. He can't be put in his place per se. So now what you have is this loudmouth dude who can fight versus other guy who's the same guy, really, because he does the same thing.
McGregor's a very arrogant dude.
So I think that the whole thing is you're getting because a lot of people said it'd be interesting. What I want to see is when people show up and watch this, what type of parties it is and who's going to be there, because I think it is underlying. It's I hope this beats this guy, and I think that part of the reason
I hope Conor puts him in his place,
because there's no reason why you can say that a fight that everybody wanted to see with Pacquiao Mayweather had made over $79 million in the ring and 4.6 million TV viewers, and they're projecting it to be more.
This is like celebrity grudge match. This is what this. Yeah. This is not. This McGregor, I think I gotta see the bets in Vegas, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have a bet for over under how many punches McGregor lands, and the number's gonna be astonishingly
zero.
Like,
the only thing
I'm honest. I'm dead serious. I would not doubt that number in a it's a 9 round bout. It's 9 rounds, right?
I do believe so.
Okay, 9 rounds. I would not doubt that number is under 20.
I mean,
he landed punches under 20.
Is there a belt on the line?
No, this is exhibition.
Exhibition. Okay. Yeah,
because
McGregor would get killed in a boxing match. We're all going to see that.
Yes.
If it's real.
But it's real. But the whole
then,
thing.
if he went to his MMA ring, then
McGregor.
Mayweather would get smoked. So nothing gets proven.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So the popularity of this, it's got to be more than just what people want to see. And my personal view. Not the express views of Echo Network or the Rock Turk show, but it is that I think this comes down to a racial thing. It's the same thing. It wasn't as bad when Peter McNeely and Tyson fought. It was kind of the same. Peter McNeely had no chance in the world to win, and there were still people putting money on this. He's a tough kid.
I get it, but I think it's been a lot of like great white hype.
But they don't do that about Galata. They didn't do that about the Klitschko's because they go in there and they fight, do whatever. I think this is for this match to bring in this much money and this much excitement. Granted, and you're talking about August 27th. Football, college football, high school football, everything's in full swing. So it's not like there's nothing going on, right? So
that's all going to be on the side because this fight's going to be front and center.
Absolutely.
Turn the game off. Michigan's going to be playing. No, they won't be playing Florida yet. So that'll be a week before. So it'll be early kickoff games.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like later in Tyson's career where like they were either biting in the ear and like everything was a disqualification. People just wanted to buy it to see the circus.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's going to happen. I think McGregor's going to be losing, and I think he's going to like take down.
Bro, because you know what? I'm telling you, I left the note that I had. There is McGregor. So Manny Pacquiao walked away with almost something like $50 or $60 million from that fight.
Right.
And obviously Floyd.
This 6 figures? I mean 7 figures?
Who's that?
Like 100 million, isn't he? McGregor gonna walk away with?
I don't know if he's gonna walk, but he's gonna walk away with probably about almost as much 40, 50 million, which is a lot because he's only made his biggest fight today. He made $10 million, and that's huge for the UFC. So this is for him and the type of person he is and the lifestyle he lives. This has changed your life. This has changed your family line money for him. So and I'm sure there's something in his contract like you can't do no crazy jump on and start punching on the ground. So I just think that McGregor will probably follow the rules because there's probably going to be some stipulation.
No, that makes sense.
And if you get beat down in the exhibition, no one walks away really with a loss other than pride, and they both walk away wealthy.
See, I wonder if disqualification would take away his purse.
I would, because I'm not going in there with some crazy dude that he could screw Floyd up.
Yeah, he could.
Bad.
If he really like.
Yeah, if they got the MMA type stuff. Yeah.
I feel like this type of fight or this type of thing that's going on, people that weren't athletes look at it and be like, yeah, why not? Yeah, have this guy from MMA and this guy from boxing. It's like saying Deion Sanders is really fast. Why didn't he win gold medals in the Olympics? Like it's completely
fast for his sport.
Yeah, I think non-athletes look at it and thinks that possibly that makes sense to them.
That Conor McGregor, they watch the McGregor highlights and like, man, he's gonna knock Floyd out.
Right.
He might not land a punch. I wouldn't. Floyd is so fast, man, with blocking punches.
I think with Floyd, this is my thing, and I'm just there's 2 outcomes of this, which the second one won't happen, but. Floyd will he's not a knockout guy anyway. right?
No.
He always goes to distance. So what he might do is he
He's
might
boring to watch,
be irritated, and he might be. I'm gonna teach this dude a lesson. He gonna pound him for 9 rounds and just beat his face up.
I don't think he'll do that. He's
No.
too much of a defensive fighter to be on this.
He's
But he's fighting a guy that he can hit whenever
Yeah,
he wants
but
Right.
him changing up his style will make him
Yeah.
vulnerable. All it takes now, nobody's like
Yeah, he got a
really,
puncher's chance.
Nobody's rocked Floyd. You catch him in the button. You ever seen Floyd get hit like
Not
for
really.
real?
Nope.
So if he changed up his style and
Yeah.
he was happy to get that one hit, that could change everything.
That's my
It's never
second
happened
point.
to him.
This is my second point. It can be like, and even though he's not going to lose, what if Floyd says, because they're still talking about Manny Pacquiao. If he wins this fight this weekend, they may try to get a rematch. But let's just say he's done. Boxing has always been, not, everybody's corrupt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's better? Is it better to, how is it?
The rematch?
Champ gets knocked out and then the rematch makes more money. Because just imagine the craziness if he's like, I'm going to lay down in this exhibition.
McGregor wins and he fight again.
Yeah.
Now I'm going.
Now I'm gonna watch it for real. Like I'm gonna say, okay, because then you're thinking, well, Floyd gonna fight for real, so this is gonna be so.
So you get
be
something.
good.
But I don't think
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I don't think I know Floyd likes his money, but that's still. I think his ego wouldn't allow him to.
I like you guys know who Chael Sonnen is, the MMA
Yeah.
fighter. He goes, if this goes past 1 round, it's proof that boxing's fixed. Because Mayweather should knock him out in the first round.
Yeah.
Should be over.
It should be over really fast.
All right, you guys ready for the next one?
Yeah, because that there's not much we can talk about that. That's about it.
Yeah.
What we got next?
Early college football conference preview. Dom's choice. I don't know what Dom's choice is. That's new.
That's so we keep it fair. Who do you want? Because I don't, this wasn't been.
Oh, I choose. which
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start with Turk here
Okay.
since Bowling Green's 0-3 versus or 3-0 versus Purdue. So where do you want to start, Turk?
But we didn't beat the brakes off Western, so.
I don't know anything about Western. I don't know anything about Western. So
Yeah.
we're talking Big Ten football preview.
Okay.
And just so you know, it's almost July now. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start previewing a major Power 5 conference every week as we get closer to college football season, and then we're going to introduce the more high school scene here locally and start talking more about the scene and about the strong teams, what we project and all of those and whatnot. We'll cover it in detail. So this week we got the Big Ten, and honestly, just to give a brief overview, I think the Big Ten is setting up to be one of the better conferences in football right now. And I know Michigan State is dwindling, but if you look at just where Ohio State is, which Ohio State is a perennial powerhouse amongst the elite teams in the country. Michigan with Harbaugh is definitely gaining ground as far as a power in nationally, which they have a game against Florida to start the season. That's going to really project on where other teams view them outside of the division. But I think 2 teams in the Big Ten that are going to make or break the conference as far as how successful they are, who have a chance to take the next step this year: Penn State and Wisconsin. If you look at Wisconsin, one thing that we got to start talking about locally, Wisconsin is taking a lot of skilled players out of the state of Michigan right now, and
Really?
they're good players.
Yes, they are.
This week alone, West Bloomfield's got 2 top flight wide receivers that both committed to Wisconsin.
Really?
They both had offers from Michigan State, Iowa, Indiana. Basically every team but Ohio State, Michigan in the conference. They both are going to Wisconsin.
Is that where PJ Fleck went?
No, he's at Minnesota.
Minnesota.
He's at Minnesota. Now, we're going to talk about him in a second because
Okay.
it all plays together. So Wisconsin is becoming a larger brand of football, right? So
And because they're in the West,
Yeah.
and right now the West is kind of not a great side, so they have a chance. They can constantly win that side of the bracket.
And if you look at Penn State, and I honestly, if you watched the bowl game last year, that Penn State team was extremely young. That Penn State USC game was probably the best game I watched.
Most exciting.
And I'm talking about Penn State. What they're doing recruiting wise, they're getting better players. Their quarterback, they got a spread open attack that's going to attract players not just from the Midwest. They're going to attract from the South and the West, and they're recruiting all over the place. They got a couple 5-stars committed there now. They are definitely a team that if they take this next step, the Big Ten could turn into a dynamic power. So you got Ohio State, you got Michigan, are going to be there. Wisconsin and Penn State, I think, are going to be those next 2 teams who have a chance to get into the top 10 teams in the country, top 15 in the country debate year in and year out. They're right there. The other part of that, you got Iowa, who I think Iowa is just going to be consistent. Another team, a dark horse team, though. I think that people aren't taking seriously. That this year is going to be it's something you got to watch out for. Nebraska. I know this is not the team he's got, but Nebraska started this pipeline from Nebraska to California. One of their big recruits, I know he's sitting out this year, is Keyshawn Johnson's son. But their coach came from Mike Riley came from out there, and he was on the Oregon State. He came here, but what he did was he kept that pipeline to the West Coast. And what he's doing is he's trying to get a lot of players from out west to come to Nebraska.
And he was smart. He did something that Coach Tiller did. When Coach Tiller came to Purdue and he wanted to change our offense, he slowly integrated his offense. So we went from the Mike Allstott era of ground and pound to we still ran the ball. Like my first year with Coach Tiller, we had 225 yards rushing a game, but we were spread up. We were still a running team. What he did in Nebraska, he had some talent. He had Tommy Armstrong, and they had Amir. And what they decided was he slowly introduced this system in there. So now when you start looking, he's going to get the right quarterback. I'll give you a little bit of that. They could be the sneaky one because everybody's overlooked them, but they always have a decent defense and offensive. They're always going to get running backs. They're always going to get old linemen. So if he can tighten up the passing game quarterback, you might be right.
Now, before I'm gonna let Rocco get in, but the other reason I think the Big Ten, and we're gonna talk another conference that's exceptional next week. The Big Ten, why they're gonna be right on that threshold, is that if you look at the collective star power of the coaches in the Big Ten right now, it is at an all-time high, and that goes from Michigan with Harbaugh, Urban Meyer at Ohio State. That's even D'Antonio is still considered an upper echelon coach. Yeah. But P.J. Fleck going to Minnesota is a game changer as far as the middle ground of the Big Ten. You still got Mike Riley at Nebraska.
Lovie Smith.
You got Lovie Smith at Illinois, who can't do anything but help that program get better. These are big name guys. This is the exact same thing, and I'm not even mentioning Penn State's head coach, Franklin. I'm not even mentioning Franklin, who was a phenomenal coach in the SEC, who was a dynamic recruiter right now. But if you look at the Big Ten basketball, when Big Ten basketball really got on the map is when they started getting the big-time coaches to come back to the Big Ten, and it became a power. And I think Big Ten football right now has as good a collection of coaches, if not the best in the country. And I think that matters in recruiting.
I think they learn because Brett Bielema, no matter what you think about, he's a very good coach. He puts together good staff. And the only reason he left Wisconsin is because he was losing all, and Turk knows this. Doesn't matter if you're defensive coordinator or head coach, you have to have good staff because you can't do everything. So you have to have competent, good staff, people that click. There's no egos, things of that nature. And they had that, but he had to leave because he was losing all of his assistants because they couldn't pay him. They were bringing guys in that just weren't up to par, and he left. And I think when that happened, and then they brought Mike Anderson in, and he didn't do a good job, I think the conference, and Jim Delaney has been way ahead of all the other commissioners, and I think they may have had a little backroom conversation because then all of a sudden you start seeing Harbaugh, D'Antonio, Lovie Smith, Kurt Ferentz. You start seeing all these guys, so that's absolutely right, and that's what the SEC had in their run of dominance. All their coaches are in the NFL now or retired.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because I think the casual fan can name half the coaches in the Big Ten. They've heard of them before. And as a coach, it's almost more important to have that. They're like a brand now instead of the school.
Yes.
You know, I mean, like Notre Dame was great in the '80s, and in all those years before, I think they had the most national championships, but nobody's going there. Maybe if they got a big coach, things would be different. The coach is almost the brand name you have to promote.
And these coaches are being branded to a point. And I know Rocco wants to talk about the Big Ten, but one thing I'll say, and I'll keep saying it, watch out, not this year, but in 3 years, if P.J. Fleck does it 5 years in Minnesota, the guy's a dynamic motivator. He's going to recruit the hell out of Minnesota in the Midwest. And Minnesota has just as good of facilities as anybody not named Michigan and Ohio State in the Big Ten.
Really?
So you got to be extremely careful and think. And if you look back on the history of Minnesota, they've had some great players come out of Minnesota. Running backs, Marion Barber went to Minnesota. He was there.
I played all those guys.
Yeah, so back when Minnesota was a heavy running team, they churned out big-time running backs. So it's not far-fetched for them to recruit the Midwest, get a couple guys from a little bit further west and maybe a little bit further south, and PJ Fleck's going to develop guys. He's already got a proven track record. Hell, what did he have? First round wide receiver. He had a second round offensive lineman. And Western Michigan had.
And they're loaded.
Yeah.
There's plenty of guys in the cupboard back there. So
Yeah.
gets the,
So watch out for Minnesota the next couple of years. They could easily be a Penn State type of team where you can get snake bit going there and you can't win there. And every 4 or 5 years they win the Big Ten. That could be them.
Like he just said, because of where they're at location wise, they're in the middle of everything. So it's not going to hurt their budget to go west.
No.
It's not going to hurt their budget to go east. So and maybe down south, but he's in the only thing they got to deal with. And I thought this was always when they built that stadium. When we played Minnesota, it was great. It was last week in November, great. We in the Metrodome. I don't care. And getting the end of the year now, it's getting low. And people've never been to Minnesota or Green Bay. That's a different. I know Michigan people think they're tough. That's a different kind of cold. And playing is different.
Getting the negatives up there.
Yeah, that's not even Wisconsin cold. That's Minnesota cold is.
But Lake Minnetonka.
So Big Ten, what are your thoughts?
I hate this because I hate when I agree with Turk. I like to be, by nature sometimes we're against each other. But I believe, and especially obviously, it's going to be a lot of this coming to football because we're both smart guys and we follow things.
Welcome to the Rock Turk show. Who's calling? What's up? Appreciate it. What you got for us?
Not just with Paul George, but if they get. No, I said if they end up getting Hayward, and then with Hayward they can bring Paul George, and they have the financial capability. So if they bring those guys in, and if D Wade and Carmelo get their contracts bought out, they've talked about them going to the Cavs. I said in a 7-game series, I think that's shifting the power. I think that they can get put down because I just don't think we're not talking 3-4 years ago. We're talking about how these guys. I don't know if you saw Carmelo play this year, and you saw that. So that's my thing.
Donnie, and I said just before you talk, I said if any combination of two, if it's Paul George and Hayward or Paul George or Blake Griffin going to Boston, I think Cleveland has to really take that team seriously.
They got to do something.
They have to really take that team seriously.
Thanks.
I agree.
Yes, I agree. I don't think they discount him. I think that they don't. It's no, I don't think that's the problem. But those two guys, they're givens. It's the other three pieces because now Hayward can score. We already see, and Draymond's not the greatest scorer, but you see what he did to Tristan, right? So now you got Hayward. I don't know if you ever watched him. That boy can ball, okay? And then you got PG, which LeBron's gonna have. It's PG is a poor man. I'm like, don't. He's like a Kevin Durant. He's gonna run around. He can shoot. He can score. He can play guard at the 3 position. So now, so you got that. Now you got IT. We know that Kyrie don't play defense, right? Because he's more
healthy. IT can still score. He's not gonna. Kyrie don't play. Kyrie's not a good defender.
Okay. But he's a ball stopper. Can he fit in that offense? Because LeBron's not going to have the ball dying on.
No. I will say this though, Donnie. If they are able to get the one thing that I don't think talent lost the series against Golden State. I think the ability to sustain offense when LeBron's. If you look at the plus minus without LeBron, it was too much to overcome, and that's even with Kyrie on the floor.
Yeah.
Because he's an ISO point guard. Now, if they get Melo and Dwayne Wade, I think it helps.
Okay,
I
now
think
if
it
you
helps.
say.
That would be interesting.
I don't think that's a good trade because but I do think
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I'll give you.
Who's making the trade? Who's making this move? Is LeBron calling these people? Who's doing this in Cleveland? You are.
So real quick, we only got about a minute. We only
Hey
got a
man,
minute. Look
I
at
need
how-
you to get Sabrina on the show though. I need you to still do that.
Hold on, real quick. Let me ask you this though, just as a Cleveland fan, right? Because like I said, I like LeBron. I'm a fan of his, but as far as the way he plays and what he does, let me ask you this: Kevin Love, he is what he is, but you're trading a guy who can post up. He's a hell of a defensive player, and he can shoot. For a guy who can't really play outside offensively 10 feet, 8 feet away from the basket. He doesn't have a shot, doesn't even have a baby hook. He's suspect on defense, but he's a great show dunker, highlight reel type deal.
I'm gonna be honest with you, straight up. I think I'm with you on that trade though. I think the Blake Griffin intrigue is enough for me to move Love for. I think it takes away from their shooting, but the athletic ability it adds as another finisher above the rim. Yeah, I think it's worth the move. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. Keep calling in, man.
Later.
All right. Well, all right. Talk to you later. So this is kind of the reason why we've decided in the fall that we're going to move to a 2-hour show, especially when it gets to football season. So there was still a lot to talk about as far as the Big Ten conference. So we maybe touch on that next week, but. Just wanted to say it's time for us to wrap it up. So just wanted to let you know that today's show is brought to you and sponsored by Blaze Contracting.
Rock Turk Sports Show is brought to you in part by Blaze Contracting.
That was cool. I really like the college preview stuff. We gotta finish the Big Ten and start the SEC next week.
What we'll do is we'll go whatever. We'll finish NBA free agency first, and then we'll finish the Big Ten. Then we'll do 2 next week.
Yeah, so we'll finish the Big Ten.
Blaze has successfully completed many high-profile projects.
What's up, man?
What up, dude?
Thought you was
major
hunting.
corporations.
That's later. That's later.
And across America.
Slumdog Millionaire.
I heard at night.
Procedures headquarters building.
So was it confirmed that's what that my dude? He did that for what? Did he say something to somebody? Oh, down at the Little Caesar thing.
And the new Little Caesars
He was just like, hey man.
Hey, sports fans, if you're out there
Oh,
listening,
you got the you got
Catch no heat.
So you gonna do that for we'll do NBA free agency and then finish up.
provide valuable assistance from the beginning stages all the way through the budgeting, design, and of course, the construction process phases of your project. You will
You're going
experience
right now, so it's good.
Yeah.
that will ensure that your project will be completed on time and within budget.
We gotta redo this.
Paves your roads.
Whenever you want.
Oh, you're terrible, man.
Call 313.
We'll get here early next week and do it.
Visit
2
their
seconds.
website at www.blazecontracting.com.
Wow. That was a quick show. It seemed like it just started and we're over already. So much to talk about in the sports world. We did not get to finish talking about the Big Ten conference. And so we're going to continue that next week, finish our Big Ten preview. Like I said, we're going to do a Power 5 conference every week. So tune in next week. We're going to conclude our Big Ten summary of what's going on, and we're going to jump to that other big conference, that big bad monster down in the South, the SEC. Give a full comprehensive overview of what's going on there. And especially, we got the NBA free agency starting at midnight, July 1st. This weekend shapes up to be something fantastic. Everybody's in a race to see if they can tool up and beat the Golden State Warriors and in the West, and if they can tool up and beat the Cavs in the East. It's going to be interesting to see what teams do. We already saw what the Houston Rockets did. I'm sure there'll be a lot of moves other than that. Tune in next week. Rocco, what you got?
Just thank you again, everybody listening out there. Please go to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram page, and it's all under the Rock Turk Sports Show. Please like us and follow us, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch our weekly shows as I upload them every week. So, other than that, if you're out here, you're calling in, you're going to argue with us, come correct, or else you're going to get called what?
A bum.
Fanboy.
See y'all next week.
Later.
Great White Hope.
I
never been that time about so quick.
Good shit, dude. We gotta hit that.